Next on our list, the Sprain Parkway and the Payne is going to be impacted. Sprain and Payne Road is going to be impacted for a number of months, and we don't want people to be surprised. And our goal is to involve the community in the process. I see Mike Mills, the village administrator of Elmsford, is here. And Elfrida Williams, the county legislator, is also here. But we just want to keep people informed as to what inconveniences they're going to expect. And since people were smiling, maybe they'll be easier on us.
Okay, let me just give you a minute to make sure everything's working here. Okay.
Thank you.
So my name is George Crimi-Veroli, and I'm a structural engineer at the New York State Department of Transportation. And with me here is Paul Tierams, and he's our regional structures engineer. And we came about, I think, 2 months ago to meet with the supervisor and tell him a little bit about the project, which we're in initial design stages of. And we also met with the village of Elmsford. So tonight, we just came here to give a little presentation with some information about the project. And then at the end, if it's okay, if there's any questions, we'll try to answer a few questions also. So here's the project location. This Sprain Brook Parkway, I-287 down here, and here's the Payne Street Bridge. Here's a little blow-up location of that. You can see the Parkway southbound, northbound here, and Payne Street goes underneath. So why are we here? Well, we use retaining walls to hold up the highway and the bridge embankments, and in particular, the type of retaining wall that was constructed in this area is called a mechanically stabilized earth system, or MSES wall. And not to get too technical, basically you have these concrete panels in the front of the wall, and you have straps that anchor it back to the earth behind it. And the wall is constructed from the bottom up, and the embankment is compacted as you go up, and the concrete panels are attached to the straps, and that retains the earth behind it. So here's a picture of these concrete facing of the wall, and then here's a picture from the back, and there's these little tabs here that attach to straps, and here's a picture of the back of the wall showing the straps that anchor it into the earth behind it. So there's some issues that we've been having with MSE walls lately, and it's because the early designs didn't provide for a lot of good drainage behind the wall, which allowed water to get trapped behind it, behind the panels, and the early designs used regular steel straps, which are problematic. Here's a picture of the wall that's supporting, this is the southbound Sprain Brook Parkway here, Payne Street down below, and these are the walls on either side. So here are some of the problems we're having. You can see water coming through the panels here, and another location here. You can see some damage on the panels here. And again, you see the water coming through, and you can see some panels have moved. So our new design, we continue to put up MSES walls as retaining walls, and we do that because we've learned from our mistakes, and so now our new designs allow the water to drain from behind the wall, and we use galvanized straps to prevent corrosion, and the problems that are at this location are due to basically corrosion of the straps and and that causes instability in the wall. So we put out an emergency repair contract. You might have noticed that we were out there doing some work, and the emergency contract did some support of the walls so that we wouldn't have any issues while we were working on preparing our project. So they removed some of the damaged panels that were there. They installed some soil nails to stabilize the panels, and had some concrete that was sprayed on, called shotcrete, and that was to keep the soil from coming out from behind the wall. And we installed temporary support towers under the Sprain Parkway, the southbound bridge, which was mostly affected by the wall problems. Here are those temporary towers, and they're in place just in case there was any problems with the walls that are underneath the bridge that are holding up the bridge abutment. And this is another one of the repair areas where they removed the damaged panels, and they installed some concrete facing, and you can see here these are soil nails which are anchored into the earth behind it that are keeping the panels in place. And this is another shot. I think this is north of the bridge. So the bridge was built and the retaining walls were built in 1980. The contract that went along that section of the Sprain Parkway and installed some walls and bridges and built the parkway. And currently the bridges carry 3 12-foot travel lanes with a right shoulder 10 foot wide and a 5.5 foot left shoulder. And the bridge is approximately 70 feet long and carries about 51,000 vehicles per day. That's each direction. It's northbound, and southbound is another 51,000. So as part of the project, there's going to be a couple stages of construction. The first stage, we're going to construct some crossovers in the median of the Sprain Parkway, crossover north of the bridge, crossover south of the bridge. And then under stage 2, we're going to complete the final paving of the crossovers, because some will require paving onto the parkway. So we're going to do that separately. And then there's an overhead sign structure on the southbound side that's going to be removed in order to facilitate construction of the crossover. It's going to be replaced after the project is done with a new sign structure. Stage 3 is when we're going to actually close the southbound bridge, and we're going to implement the crossovers. And then we're going to replace the southbound bridge under this stage. So we're going to reduce the northbound parkway and the southbound parkway from 3 lanes to 2 lanes. We're going to cross southbound traffic over, and all the traffic will be utilizing the northbound bridge. And then after the bridge is open, we'll remove the crossovers, restore the median, and we'll do some landscaping down on Payne Street.
If the bridge was constructed in 1980, is that a typical lifespan of a bridge?
No, the bridge isn't necessarily the issue. It's the wall, the retaining walls that are adjacent to it. That's the issue. So because they are having issues, then that affects the stability of the bridge. So that's the reason that we're replacing the bridge. We're going to keep the northbound bridge because the walls on that side they're not as high, and they're not experiencing the same trouble we are with the southbound bridge.
But is it only a matter of time before those walls experience the same problems
Well,
as these?
we're going to monitor those walls and these walls and other of similar walls built in this contract. I don't know, you might or might not have noticed on the Sawmill River Parkway ramp, that was the one that was closed, and we had the detours because we had to repair that. And that was built under the same contract as this bridge, so we're going to be monitoring those walls for signs of issues also.
Yeah, the northbound bridge, part of this project, we were going to shore up we will be shoring up the existing walls also, and we will be putting up our new kind of like a bridge abutment that will be there that'll be right under the beams if anything did move. As part of the MSES wall failures, the southbound bridge has moved a few inches and settled and shifted on us, and it's not really caused any major problems, but it has caused a few rideability problems on the deck, so that's the real one that we got to get out of there right now. The other one is still in very good shape.
So,
Is the company that built the bridge in 1980 still around?
not sure which company that was, but I'm assuming they probably are. Looks like the battery.
The bridges we build today, we expect a 75-year service life is what the minimum we want to get out of it. So obviously these, didn't even get us a full 40 years. So yeah, this is a disappointment as an expenditure long before we expect it to be back here.
The other question I'm just having for curiosity, if, a bridge was built, say, in 1980, and it should have lasted, say, 75 years, and it lasts, say, much less, are there any, like, penalties? I know the warranty has expired or whatever, but does the state basically say, somebody a company built a bridge, in 1980, and it didn't last, will they be disqualified from bidding, or, is there any penalties if they gave you a lemon?
Unfortunately, there are no such penalties, even if it happened 5 years after. There are some states in the country that have like a 10-year warranty or something like that, but New York State final accepts the job and inspects it at the end, and then we retain full ownership. At this point right now, New York State DOT does not have any clauses in the contract, not that they're not a good idea.
Yeah, maybe that's something that, we should propose to the state is, even with the county projects, with the county bridges and all that, or town bridges or town construction, there should be some sort of clause that, if we get something bad, the contractor should, lose something, I think.
I agree with you. Unfortunately, this one is more of a design-related issue. Back in the late 70s, the MSES wall was a newer type retaining wall, which is a fast and inexpensive way to build these earth retaining structures, and the techniques and design has advanced, but some of these earlier ones are showing some problems that back in the day the engineers didn't think of.
What do you anticipate the effect will be on the surrounding neighborhood of the construction while it's ongoing?
Well, George will continue in a minute, and he'll go over some of the effects on Payne Street. But I think at a minimum, we all know this section of the Sprain Brook Parkway during the rush hours and morning or afternoon, it is a normal backup place. And losing one lane in each direction is going to have a severe impact on that throughout the rush hours and even extending longer portions of the day. We will have a public outreach program as this bridge starts up here in the summer. But I believe a lot of commuters will try to take alternate routes. Hopefully they stay on our major parkways and throughways and roads like that. But unfortunately, I believe some of them may try to take some local roads to get around some of these troubled areas.
I think our residents here are concerned of construction that's going to affect Payne Street.
I think once George gets the computer back up, his presentation goes over the details of Payne Street.
These panels have been a problem in more than one location. How many inspections are you guys predicting to make sure our bridges are safe?
Well, all these bridges will get inspected at least once a year, but the bridges that have moved currently, the ramp between Sawmill and Cross County where we have this and this one, we have set up a set of prisms. And once a month the surveyor team will go out there and shoot the prisms on the wall, and it's very precise to know even if it moved a fraction of an inch. So right now this one here is started on a monthly basis to be surveyed, and at least the walls in this town in the next few years, this should be fully repaired in there. But like you said, this is not the only area. So we have an extensive monitoring system you know, it is a fiscal problem to go out and fix all these at once right now for the DOT, and I think we're just in the beginning stages of trying to come up with a game plan for all that, but they are all being carefully watched at this time.
So here's a little bit of a schedule. Our contract is going to be going out to bid April 20th. That's when the contractors will bid on the project. Anticipated that they'll begin stage 1 in summer of 2017, shortly followed by stage 2, and then the bridge will be closed under stage 3 during the summer of 2017. We'll have a better idea of the exact dates when we have a contractor on board and they give us an idea of what their schedule is going to look like. The new bridge is planned to be reopened in the fall of 2017, and after that, probably the contractor will come back in the spring and do some other work that planting or stuff like that has to be done in the spring. So the contract will be done in the spring, but they'll be out of there for the most part in the fall. Here's a little profile of Payne Street. As you know, it's a very steep grade. And here's the southbound bridge, here's the northbound bridge. So the southbound bridge is the one that's going to be replaced. And here's a typical section of Payne Street underneath. And we're going to add sidewalks on either side. There are sidewalks that come up to both ends of the bridge, and under the bridge is basically just an asphalt area. So we're going to put concrete sidewalks, connect up all the sidewalks on both sides, and we'll end up resurfacing the roadway of Payne Street underneath the bridge also. And here's the existing southbound bridge, the 3 lanes with shoulders, and the new bridge shown on the bottom. It's going to be the same width, the same travel lanes and the same shoulders on the new bridge. And here's just a overview of the bridge. This is the northbound side. This is the southbound side here. In front of this, the existing walls, we're going to put a new wall system that will reinforce the walls behind it and be able to support the whole load of the earth in the bridge on its own. So on either side, we'll put these new walls, and also on the north side of the bridge, we'll do that. And then there'll be new walls also in front of the northbound bridge. The bridge will remain, but we're going to put some walls in front, again, just to support the walls behind it, the MSES walls behind it. And this is just an idea of what the walls will be like. On the bottom, you see the overview. On the southwest side, this is the wall here. This is the corner of the bridge, and this is looking along to the north. This will be the wall underneath the bridge. If we're looking towards the north, this will be the east side. On the other side, next to the northbound bridge, this is going to be the south wall underneath the bridge. And then this is the corner of the bridge here, and this is the side of the wall on the other side. And this is the remaining little piece here on the north side by the northbound bridge. And then these are the walls that are going to go underneath the northbound bridge. They're going to have an architectural pattern on them, and they will, again, be able to support the wall behind it. And up top, they will be directly supporting the bridge also. And this is the one on the other side, on the south side. Lighting under the bridges. We were requested by the town that we install lighting under the bridges. And so we're going to have the contractor install an electrical panel, bring in power, and install lights shown here under the bridge. And the lighting will be operated and maintained by the town. I already gave the supervisors an agreement that we need to be executed by the town, and that just says that they may agree to maintain the lighting, I believe for 20 years, something like that. These will be LED lights, and so they're low maintenance, low power. This is an example of these lights which were installed on project in Orange County, Shutt Road, which goes under, I believe, I-84, or is it 17? So this is the lights. They'll be installed, mounted to the wall, and it's approximately what they'll look like when they're installed. And this is the close-up of the light during the day. Another shot of the lighting. Another one. So during construction, traffic will be maintained on the Sprain Parkway. Again, it'll be 2 lanes in each direction. Southbound traffic is crossing over to the northbound bridge. And Payne Street's going to be closed to traffic, and the maximum time that we put in the contract for them to be able to close Payne Street is 180 days. And we're going to have a detour in place to direct traffic around Payne Street. And we met with the Village of Elmsford and their fire department response to emergencies in this area. And they told us that they need to get emergency vehicles through there. So we put provisions in the contract that emergency vehicles will be allowed to drive through the work zone at all times. So while the contractor is working during the day, he's always to keep a clear lane that the emergency vehicles can drive through. And then at night, you'll leave it in a way that emergency vehicles can get through also.
When you say detour in place to direct traffic around Payne Street, what does that mean?
I'll show you a plan of that, but we'll have signs that say Payne Street closed and local traffic only, and then we'll have detour signs that'll direct people around to the other side, Payne Street, if that's what they're looking to get from one side to the other. And then also under the contract, we're going to give the contractor 90 days to close the southbound Springbrook Parkway Bridge, and he'll have 90 days from the time he closes it to get it open again. And if he does not have it open in 90 days, he's going to be penalized, and it's going to be $35,000 a day for each day that he doesn't have it open. And he's going to get an incentive if he opens it sooner than 90 days. Up to 10 days sooner, he'll get an incentive bonus of $35,000 a day. So we're looking for him to get in and out as quick as possible to reduce the amount of time that the bridge is closed. So here's a view of the project. Up here to the north, the southbound lane is going to be reduced from 3 to 2 up here. The crossover is going to be here. Traffic's going to cross over the median onto the northbound side. Here's the bridge itself, and this is what the bridge is going to look like. You're going to have 2 travel lanes in the northbound direction and 2 travel lanes in the southbound direction, separated by the median barrier in the middle. The south of the bridge, you'll have the traffic cross back over onto the southbound side. And then just in the northbound direction, just north of 287, you'll have the northbound traffic reduced to 2 lanes also. This is a view of Payne Street. So it's going to be closed where the barriers are here and here on the south and north, and here's the signing we'll have for roadway closed. There'll be a pedestrian path available at all times. The contractor's going to maintain that. And up top here, you can see we'll have barricades on both sides. There'll be these bollards in the middle, which will be in place, again, when the contractor is not working at nighttime. The emergency vehicles will be able to drive over those and drive through the work area and access the other side of Payne Street. This is the detour route. The signage here. Here's Payne Street, Route 9A here, 119, and Route 100A, I believe, on this side. So traffic will be detoured south then, and along 119 and back up 9A with the detour signing that we show here. So as part of the traffic management strategies, we're going to have variable message signs. I believe there's 12 in the contract, and we're going to be deploying them along the Parkway to inform motorists of possible delays ahead of time, let them know when we're closing it, in order for them to take alternate routes. There are other routes, north and south, that they can take, both east and west of the Sprain Parkway, depending on where they're coming from, where they're going. All of our existing permanent variable message signs that we have on the Parkway will be utilized also. We have traffic cameras in the areas, and our traffic management center will be monitoring those, and they can adjust the messages on the variable message boards to let traffic know when there are delays. And we're also going to perform outreach through the media and internet as the project gets closer to actual closure, and we're going to reach out and inform people about the project and advise them of the alternate routes that they can take.
Is there a possibility of using like webcams, you know, where people could see in real time see the traffic congestion?
There are the traffic cameras that are out there that are DOT cameras. You can access that through the internet. Yes,
Yeah, that's what I meant,
you can access those cameras, and that is real-time information.
Great.
We could probably put a link to it on the project website if that's something that would be.
I think that would be good, because it is, this way, you know, people who are driving, you know, are planning, you know, to use the roads would at least be able to see what they're gonna experience before.
Yeah.
I think, you know, so these little things that could send a message to the public that we're really doing everything humanly possible to, you know, to try making this as, you know, least stressful as possible for people.
Yes, and the New York 511 will have this information, and Metropool will have this information, so that people will be able to get it through there also. And this is just a little rendering of what the new bridge will look like, showing the lighting, the walls, the new sidewalks on either side. So then, that'll be when it's done. And you guys have anybody has any questions, we can,
I have a
Yes.
question. My name is Lemmy.
Yeah,
Come to the microphone, man. Come
Yeah,
to the
come to the
microphone.
mic.
Come up.
Oh, well, I'm a big mouth, so I didn't know.
We would like to ask if anyone would like
That way
to
people at home can see.
make comments or ask questions during a hearing or public comment. Please come forward and fill out a comment request form. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lemuel Davis, the president of the North Elmsford Civic Association. I want to first take this time to thank Town Supervisor Paul and the board members, town clerk, for inviting us and to informing the community of such projects and other projects that have been taken on into the community. We want to say thank you publicly to all of you. My question to the engineer is, we have a lot of traffic that, as you all know, the engineer study has shown that there's a lot of traveling going through the Sprain Parkway, but there's also a lot of people in the mornings, school buses, et cetera, going up, picking up our students, our parents, our mothers and fathers, are going to work in the mornings. What type of inconvenience how will we alleviate that issue of people moving back and forth through Payne, through that underpass there, going up to the other side? Where's the detour? I don't understand the detour. That's the first question. I don't understand the detour. The second question is noise ordinance. And what time will this the construction shut down? You know, what time will it start in the mornings? So those are just two of the issues that I had clearly that I wanted to address. And again, if I may, can I have all the people from North Elmsford Civic Association to stand up, the people that live in that area, just so we show that we have some people here that are representing. Please stand for me, please, if you live on that side of town. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I was in contact with the school district, and I told the transportation director about the because this is when we were in the preliminary stages, and we were trying to figure out what we could do with traffic on Payne Street, and I contacted them to see what their routes were and whether they thought that they could alter their routes in order to accommodate closing Payne Street. And they told me that, well, obviously the bus company is a contracted company, but the person I talked with, the school district, said that there should be not a problem to arrange to have the school buses come in from either side and pick up the children on Payne Street. Part of the closure is going to be during the summer when school's not in session, but chances are it will spill over into the school session. But I did talk to the school district, and they told me that it was not a real problem. And I told them that I would let them know and give them the dates, when we knew more about the dates and times, so they knew, to reroute their buses and the schedule of that.
Did you speak to both school districts? Because it's not just the Elmsford School District, it's the Mechanical Hills School District, so there's,
I
more-
did talk to the one school district. I believe it was Elmsford School District.
Well, you have Mechanical Hills that goes through
Okay.
up Payne Street, picks up kids at the top towards Norwood Road. So those buses in the morning now can't get through. So Mechanical Hills is going to have to be notified, to be told,
Okay.
your buses, that route's going to be changed.
Could you also talk about, the times of construction?
Yes.
If there's going to be evening hours and noise and lighting?
Sorry, we have one more question about.
No. You have to sign up for the questions, and
Yeah.
then we get you
Do
to
you
it.
want to explain the detour one more time for me?
Oh,
That was-
sure.
You had a question about the detour route?
Next question?
While he's setting up the picture, the detour to explain, the noise ordinance, and we did read the town of Greenburgh noise ordinance as part of his contract, and and we are trying to, we're trying to be in as much compliance as possible, knowing the major issue here, as far as this whole corridor, is the over 100,000 cars on Sprain Brook Parkway, and we don't want the construction to take 6 months to get in and out of there. So we restricted to 90 days. We are basically allowing the contractor to work all hours except for 10 at night to 6 in the morning. We have that restriction in the contract.
So from 10 to 6, there'll be no construction?
Yes, and Saturday and Sundays, they only can work one shift during the day. But we know the contractor, to meet a 90-day schedule here, is going to have to work more than a 40-hour work week. It's just the amount of work is a substantial amount of work in a very tight and tough area to work in, with the power lines and the DEP's waterway through there. So we do have those restrictions in the contract. And George can just review with you the detour for the car traffic quickly here.
This is the detour that'll be signed here. Again, this is Route 100 here, 119 to the south, and 9A on this side. So, this is the detour that's going to be signed, but obviously, and we looked at also to the north, you can come up and up across and back down 9A. So there's other ways you can go, but this is going to be the detour that's signed.
We do generally, when state does a detour, try to keep it on state highways. We don't really use local roads for volumes of traffic and things like this, so there might be a more ideal way, depending on if you're going around Payne Street and have to head north or south, that you may know better way to take, but we wanted to sign one route on state highways.
I think it's great that you're not doing the work all throughout the evening on Linwood. There was a bridge, the county did it, and they were working throughout the night, and a lot of people were complaining. So this is really a big improvement. Thank you.
Natasha Morrison?
I know he asked you about the buses, but my question again, the buses currently, they use the larger buses to go up and down Payne Street, and I understand with the divide now, they can still come down Payne Street or go up Payne Street, but being that they use the larger buses, how are they gonna turn around now to go back down or go back up the hill? Because that's gonna pose a problem.
So, I mean, I'll contact the other school district, but as far as, you know, when I explained to the school district that it would be closed at the bridge, I mean, I'll contact them again just to make sure that they know what's going on. They might be, and I didn't talk to the bus company itself, but, I mean, I can contact the person there. But I'm assuming that they'll make some adjustments to the buses in order to be able to, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that there's a clear understanding. It's
Yeah.
like, my child doesn't go to the public school, but I know they run up and down. They go to the private schools. One has a small bus, but one uses the big bus, and that's going to be a problem on Payne Street, especially on the steeper hills.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
will
Yes.
re-review your
Yes,
very valid
please.
points, because I've gone down those side roads and had to turn around, and it's not easy.
And I think before the night's over, get the name of the private schools so that you'll know it's probably more than two school
I wrote down the
districts.
first one that you mentioned, but, what was the private school
The two private schools,
that you said that your children use?
Iona Prep,
Was it?
Iona Prep uses the bigger bus,
Okay.
and currently Ripplewam uses a small bus. I don't know if that's
How do
going
you
to
spell
change.
that?
RIPPOWAM. It's a Swiss school, CISQUA. But they do go through the Oxford School District, the bus service.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Our next speaker on this topic is County Legislator Alfreda Williams.
I just wanted to ask, I know in the past, over the years, there's been a great deal of disruption and dissatisfaction among residents when night work is involved. And I see on the material that was distributed, actual night work between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. would be limited to any operations requiring lane closures. What kind of notification is going to be given to the community about night work? Because it can be very, very disruptive.
What that note means is, and this is more to do with the work at the beginning and at the end of the job, on the Sprain Brook Parkway, we can't do work up there in the day to close even more lanes and restrict traffic because the volumes are too high. So the initial paving of the crossover will be done at night under lane closures up on the Sprain Brook Parkway. But once the traffic is crossed over, we don't anticipate for the 90-day period for there to be any night work up on top. And then when they have to remove it and fix it at the end, there'll probably be some night work associated with having to work up on the Sprain Brook Parkway itself.
My question is, what kind of notification will be given to the community about it? Because when you have to get up early in the morning to go to work, you really don't want to have to listen to road work being done between 10 o'clock at night.
Well, I don't know if we can work with Supervisor Feiner and be able to put something, give notice that could go up on the town's website, or it's a fair point that we'll work with the community and with the DOT to come up with some way to provide some notification or something that you guys could check in on to see if you had something important going on.
Right, and maybe even the civic associations, they have a good email list. If you're considering it and it has to be done, you notify people in advance. This is like one of the, it's a neighborhood association that really works very cooperatively, and they really want the best, and I feel that, you'll have a good relationship, with them. So I think if they're notified and you tell them what the options are and the reasons, I feel we'll be able to come up with the best plan for everybody.
I agree.
Murray Bowden.
My name is Murray Bowden. I have some personal involvement with the DOT and the Sprain Parkway when they did the bridge over 119. Their inspector was incompetent, did not know the law. They refused to meet with me now. The lines on Dobbs Ferry Road and Hartsdale Avenue are completely wrong. They refuse to correct them. They cannot follow the manual and uniform traffic control devices. They stand here and tell you they know what they're doing, and I question their competency. This is on TV. This is a record that is permanent. My name is Murray Bowden, and I live in Hartsdale. And I say you cannot trust what DOT tells you. It sounds good here, but on the road, when it happens, it's an entirely different story. So at least be warned that what they tell you may not actually happen. And I ask at this time if they will meet with me and correct some of the things that they have wrong in our town. One of them is that Acme Shopping Center, where the Dunkin' Donuts exit is, it's idiotic. The sight lines are good for a left turn lane. They can't make it. A dotted line separates a left turn lane. They have a solid line. The book is wrong. They can't correct it.
All right, Murray, thank you, but this is a different project, so we just want to
No,
get
it's
past
the
this project.
competency of whether or not these people are telling you the truth. And I question whether or not you're getting the truth.
Thank you.
Okay, still on this topic, Star Dawson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Back to the question about the school buses. I know school will be out, but then there's summer camp, so there's agencies that provide summer camp buses to pick the kids up for the entire length of Payne, and that's something that has to be addressed as well. So the summer camps, there are buses that go up and down Payne to pick up kids for camp and bring them back home.
You know what would be good? Maybe
Yes.
the Civic Association could poll the members of your association and ask people to advise us, what camps they send their kids to in the summer. Then we could let the state know, and then you could reach out to the camp directors. If you email me, or then I could follow it up.
Well, I do know TDYCC is one of them, and the town of Greenburgh is definitely one of them.
Right, but there may be.
And it's
others.
probably,
There
it's
may be
definitely
more,
others,
yeah.
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 No, okay. And then the next question was, it was in reference to the water flow. I was asked to ask this question. It's really not my question, but I was told to ask this question. The water flow coming down the hill from Payne and the bridge, like, where would that water go while construction is going on? If there's not gonna be, yeah, since it's gonna be, when you take it down, like, where would the water go? Like, what's there now is preventing the water from rolling down Payne, is that correct?
At that location, I believe the Parkway to the south, the grade goes down away from the bridge. From the north, I don't know if it flows onto the bridge or not, but, anything like that would be captured on site. Wouldn't be allowed to flow off the site. No dirty water would be able to flow off the site, in other words.
So we don't have to anticipate any, like, major water rushing down Payne Hill from that area?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
As part of the project, the contractor will be required to submit what we call erosion and sediment control plan, which will basically how they're going to control stormwater flow through the construction procedure. I will admit, sometime this is hitting a moving target where they first think we're going to carry water and where water's coming from, and then you get, 1 inch or 2 inch rainstorm in a short period, and we realize there's some other things. So I'm not going to say it's a perfect science, but we will be constantly working to control the water and have it not affect any private properties in the area there. And yes, if we'll catch back up to with the Civic Association to find out all things that we need to be concerned about, summer camps, private schools, and everything like that. We would like to make contact and have a conversation with everybody to be on the same page. We're only anticipating when this period is. On my best guess, the 90-day period would probably run something like August, September, and October. There's one of the first things they have to do is order all the steel for the job, and that's a procurement that, even though we'll be awarding it to somebody by end of May, It takes a few months to order all the steel and get it on site, which is really what you need to start doing the heavy work there. But we will always keep the town and whoever we have contacts with up to date with the schedules. Once we have a contractor and we know their schedule, we will keep the public here notified, so you're not surprised.
And maybe what we could do is we could do right before, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the project starts, we could have another information session like this at a town board meeting, and they're televised, and then you could notify people in the community, because I think this is good. I just want to also, compliment you. I feel that, dealing with both of you, you definitely are very, hardworking and dedicated, public servants, and I think you're really trying very hard to be, responsive, to the community. So from my dealings with you, I've been really, pleased, and I know, the Village of Elmsford, had some concerns early on, and immediately there was meetings with, with village officials and first responders, the fire departments. Mike, are there any concerns that you have relating to this, or the village?
We have one last request.
I just wanted to,
Resident? Oh.
Not at this time, they've addressed everything that we had brought to their attention when we met with them. One of the most important things was being able to get the fire trucks both ways, as well as the detour route, beach detour onto State Road.
great, yes.
Okay, this is the last request to speak on this topic. Judith Shaw.
My question deals with the impact, particularly to the streets that are right above and right below the Sprain. When they were working on it previously, some of the construction cars were parked in our block, and I just want to know if that's going to be the expectation. As we go into the summer months, the families on those blocks will be entertaining guests, and I'd just like to know if those parking spots that are available, we all know that the streets are very tight on Payne. Most of them are dead ends. So if the construction personnel is taking up the parking, what happens to the people who live there or people who are visiting them, particularly during the summer months?
One of the advantage that we have, the emergency contract didn't have, was, we're bringing in a lot of heavy equipment and cranes to drive steel piles and bring steel bridges in and these high concrete walls. So we had to, and I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the exact side roads, just up the hill and down the hill.
One is Montgomery. Right.
We're going to have the road closed between Montgomery and the one just above it, or below it. And so they should have room to keep their equipment and cars within the closed-off space. I wrote it down, we will mention as a point, a general note in all our contracts does address in our ones that was emergency work, and they should have kept a better control of that, but I think between those two areas, we will be able to keep their cars, and we will mention this to them, because, we don't want them on the town roads at all.
Do you think we could maybe consider putting up like some temporary signs saying like no construction construction workers, no parking residential street, on the streets, that you're basically concerned about, because they're probably not going to park there anyway, but if they see the sign, it just will advise it's just another way of emphasizing how important it is to keep the parking for neighbors.
Right, and we're not impacted because they did park there during the most recent construction.
Or, if, maybe we could sit down and do the temporary signage. I think that would be helpful.
Okay, we will take your comments, and we will find a way to address them with signs, or we'll find a way to handle this.
Thank you.
But thank you, that's a good point.
Thank you.
In closing, we just had one more request, Lemuel Davis.
Thanks again. One thing, Town Supervisor Paul, and to the board, when it comes down to disseminating information to the communities at large, as we all know, communities are changing. A lot of different cultures are moving into the communities, and some still, the contact of information comes to those who are on the E-list as one way of disseminating information from the board. So basically, I would like to go on record that we, in regarding any project or any information, that we send it out, that if there's some type of mailing list that through you, town supervisor, and board members, that we can get this information out to our Spanish-speaking members in the community, to our English-speaking members. So on record, I'd like to hopefully see if we can establish a open dialogue of communication through mailings. A lot of people don't have access to computers, but I'm saying if it's something that's doable, I would appreciate the consideration, not only for the North Elmsford Civic Association residents, but for the residents at large. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Somebody from our Human Rights Committee has offered to donate her time and do translations for us. So maybe if there's a large Hispanic, population in this area, and you advise us, we could send out, the notices in both English and Spanish. If you think that would be helpful, we'll do it. I think that's a good idea.
And if we write them, we have the ability to translate into a multitude of languages within our department. So if we know what are if it's Hispanic and it's something else, you let us know, and when we put out a notice to you, we can provide it in
That would be
different
fabulous.
languages.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thank you.
That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us today and for really trying to be responsive to the community.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.